Hello, this is Whatcast. I'm Matt. Been away. I've been went off to Menorca, a Spanish island, for a couple of weeks or so. But I'm back, and I couldn't not do this. I've never covered Witsit before on any of my videos on here. I don't think I have, anyway. Maybe ages ago. But Witsit's back, talking about flat Earth again. I watched a little bit of this. So I got the gist of where he's going with it, but I wanted to come on and react to what he's going to say. A strange character, I find Witsit. I understand why flat earthers love him, because he's like their brainy one. And he, whether people want to admit it or not, he does challenge people in debates by taking them to places that they've not really looked at or whatever. He does say some relevant things. He does make some half decent points in debates, maybe not on the. I don't think he ever makes any good points about the shape of the Earth, but he does say some stupid things. He's obviously got a massive narcissistic problem. But let's see what he's got to say. He's breaking the silence here with his little video. Let's check him out.
For those who don't know, guy named Will Duffy said he would fund a bunch of people to go to Antarctica. Originally, it was just going to be him, one flat earther, one globe earther. Ended up turning into him and a couple flat earthers. My stipulation was I wouldn't go if he didn't want to go, or if he wasn't on the same plane as me, right? Because I was like, I didn't fully trust it, obviously. I'm like, dude, they're going to try to take us out or something. Who knows? And the reason for that is obviously, as a flat earther, you realize that there's so much sketchy going on with Antarctica. So many lies, so many fabricated stories, so many claimed like paths and journeys that don't add up. They'll say, oh, they went directly across Antarctica, and then you go find out actually they just dipped inland just a little bit according to their own paths. The official world record, Guinness World Record for circumnavigation.
So you can see this is going to be a coping session. He's literally been there and he's still pretending the place is fake.
Was given to people that didn't even complete it. They ran into some weather issue and turned around, but they were still given the world record. Obviously, it's the one thing that apparently everyone in the world can agree on, et cetera, et cetera. It does seemingly hold a lot of answers, right? Like certainly with kind of this AE type projection that people have shared around and seen. If Antarctica is the idea of this ice ring around us, then what's that could hold a bunch of answers. Obviously, like if you can just keep going south away from the center, then where do you go? And obviously, on a globe, you would just continue and you'd pop back up, and you'd be able to just keep doing that. So anyway, Antarctica has obviously always been a place of interest. So yeah, and obviously, this is what I find so surreal. Now people want a Monday morning quarterback, and they want to look back and be like, you should have known that they were setting you up, and look what you did. You knew this was going to be bad for flat Earth, and why did you fall for that and all this?
Yeah, you knew this was going to be bad for flat Earth because you knew what you would see. He's not, whatever he's going to say it, he won't convince me that he didn't already know before he went to Antarctica that he was going to see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. He was shamed into this because he didn't want to look like he was backing away from it like Weiss did, the coward. At least this guy had the balls to actually go and face the music. But he was pivoting from flat Earth, and everybody knows this, before this trip even took place. And everybody pointed it out. He was going into his geocentrism and trying to talk, political stuff and everything else. But that only kicked in when this trip was getting closer and closer. He moved further and further away from flat Earth to give himself something relevant to talk about when he saw what he knew he was going to say. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise of this. Jiren also said that, Jiren says along the lines of, we didn't expect to see it. I was totally convinced. Jiren might have been totally convinced because Jiren's been proven to be an honest person by just accepting this and realizing there isn't a flat Earth explanation for the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Witsit isn't ready to do that, whether it's ego, whether it's cult. I don't know why he cannot accept the fact that that is at least damning evidence of flat Earth. He won't even accept that. Even if he, doesn't want to accept that it's a globe, he's just, here we are. This happened in, I think people forget how long ago this was now. This has been 6 months since they went and did this in Antarctica, TFA. And he is still, you can tell, he has still got no explanation for what he saw. and he's still looking for reasons to be able to continue to be this rock star, flat earth hero that he was prior to this trip.
It's like, I didn't fall for anything. I would do it again because I got to go to a place that almost no one gets to go to. I got to go to a place that we just sit here and theorize about. We know the governments have all got together and they keep it under wraps, and it holds a bunch of answers, right? It's a place that basically no one throughout mankind's history, based on what we know, right? I think that older civilizations could have obviously gone there. No telling.
Oh yeah, all the older, the super intelligent older civilizations everyone goes on about all the time, that because they drew some pictures on some walls, we've got to draw this assumption and everything they've done. But what cracks me up is like he still goes along with the Antarctic treaties, signed by all these governments because they're hiding stuff. This is a guy that also believed that none of the 24-hour sun videos that he saw before he went were real. So how much credibility has he got now? Like people that just because he's going to now continue to be a flat earther, because he doesn't want to. In his case, I think he doesn't want to accept the loss. He won't take the L, right? I can't think of another reason, whether he's just failed in other things that he's doing. I don't know. I don't really know his reason. The ego is a strange thing. But he's still going to pretend everything else he thought about Antarctica was real, other than the sun. He got that bit wrong. The most important thing.
But no one gets to go there. And so, did I know that they had a super biased, slanted intention? Of course. I mean, they were open about that. Did I know that they would be unfair and that they would possibly be dishonest? Of course. We went through.
Heaven forbid someone be dishonest. Like, you knew that you would see the 24-hour sun, tried to put your plans in place before you went, because you knew there would be a 24-hour sun. Every flat earther has moved away from the model that they all have argued with for ages, and now they're all pretending they never did. No, we don't have a model. Now you don't. Now you ain't got anything at all. How can you ever talk about this seriously anymore when you've literally got absolutely nothing and never will have that works?
All kinds of negotiations beforehand. We're going back and forth with the contracts. I actually wrote it, making sure they couldn't use my likeness and image without my permission. All kinds of stipulations, back and forth. It was like a whole thing, but it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So there's apparently still a group of people that claim that I didn't go there. And I just want you to be honest for a second, right? Just think about it. Now let's just imagine if you're me and imagine that you just actually did go there. Just imagine. Now you're me and you actually went there. How would you feel about someone claiming they know you didn't go there?
Right. I completely agree. It is a ridiculous position to take. And it is also one that you take yourself and have done with everyone else that's ever been to Antarctica. The videos you saw, they're not real. The people that went there, they didn't go. What's the difference? Because it's you now, everyone must trust that you went there. But you don't have to believe anybody. Whenever anyone gives you evidence for anything or said that they saw something with their own eyes, you don't believe it because you can't. Because it goes against everything you say. And now it's you, your idiots, your idiot followers that have got the same mindset of you that just believe nothing that anyone tells them, but believe anything, no matter how ridiculous it is, anything that supports their position. And you're telling them that they shouldn't think that way after training them to think that way for years.
You would just think it would just be so retarded that it's like, okay, bro, right? Just actually think about that. And so I want to just address a few things.
I agree, but you do it.
So that's kind of what the stream is going to be about, right? So one of these ideas, or what people were saying, is that I just ran away and left everyone hanging and didn't address anything, didn't answer any questions, blah, blah, blah. That isn't true at all. I got back home and then we immediately went to Tennessee for Christmas. And then I come back, and even while I'm there, while I'm with family, I'm jumping in Discord, answering everyone's questions. Because I know everyone wants to know. I have tons of questions and all this, right? And I was in Discord between Ether Cosmology and Earth Awakenings nonstop for 2 straight weeks at least.
Speed this up
nonstop. We're talking dozens and dozens of hours of me sitting there, people lining up and just spamming me with questions about the trip, right? Just repetitive questions, accusations, slander, insulting me.
I don't know if he was in Discord, but he was on quite a few, streams on YouTube that I saw around, like immediately after Flat Earth streams and things like that. He was jumping in with Duffy and stuff like that. He wasn't hiding from the situation. I don't know what happened since then, but he's not like he went missing.
Doing everything under the sun, like that you can imagine, just disgusting, deplorable behavior, like attacking me, lying about me, dogpiling on me, and asking me the same questions over and over and over and over and over and over, and just acting like anti-flat earthers, like acting like the super lame people I debate against or have debated against for years.
Yeah, them super lame people, because the flat earthers are the bright ones. The flat earthers never go round online obsessing over attacking anti-flat earthers. I'm not an anti-flat earther. I've explained before a million times. Flat earthers just rub me up the wrong way because of the way they address you. I didn't know anything about it, and you ask questions because I was making a podcast talking about fringe things, and this topic came up, and I thought, I'll ask those people that believe that why they believe that, and you just get savagely attacked, called all sorts of names just for asking a question politely to these people. And that is what made me go down this rabbit hole and find out about this stuff. But they pretend that it's all the other way around. And in some cases it is, but idiots are idiots on either side.
Right? Exactly the same behavior, making these just completely baseless accusations and claims super confidently, then me directly addressing it, refuting it, and then instead of acknowledging it or conceding, just immediately moving on to some other point, just constantly in this desperate search for some gotcha, right?
Yeah, because flat earthers never do that at all. Try TikTok, Witsit. I know you've been on there before and you probably agree with me about the flat earthers on there, but their entire existence is ignore every single point, no matter how stupid or humiliated they look in front of enormous amounts of people, searching for a clip that they could potentially take from the conversation where they can say that they got you with something, no matter how stupid and lame it is, as long as the rest of the cult applaud along with it.
Did this for hours, bro. Hours and hours. With people super arrogant, as if like they pay me or I'm their employee. I owe them something. I must come and be subjected to being berated for hours and hours every single day, all night. I was pulling all-nighters answering people's questions. Going through videos frame by frame of a place I know I went. I literally physically experienced it in the real world. Someone's telling me I didn't, and then making me go through frame by frame of videos that came from the trip.
Yeah, frame by frame of videos that someone else took. Maybe you should have took your own videos. Maybe you should have shown some interest and done some live streams and done some videos and done some observations there. But instead you're using the videos observations of everybody that your cult hates and they don't trust. So, that might have helped you out if you'd have done that, but who cares?
And I'm sitting there going through them, answering the questions, answering every question they can think of for hours and hours. And then someone new would come in and ask the same questions over and over, right? People are apparently saying that I didn't answer any questions. I just disappear. That isn't true at all. I even then did streams about it. I actually did a debate about it. I actually debated it, right? Like a multiple hour debate with Dustin Nemos with Dave Weiss moderating about if I actually went to Antarctica. I did a debate about it and kept answering the questions. So I just want to point that out, right? I didn't just bail and leave everyone hanging. That didn't happen at all. And I want this. I'm not going to get like real worked up in this stream or anything, but I'm just explaining. I want you to, if anyone's being honest, like just put yourself in my shoes here. Put yourself in my perspective.
Put yourself in the shoes of all of science and everybody that's ever been anywhere that you called a liar. Put yourself in it. It's what sympathy are you looking for here? Now you just know the absurdity of this, all right? I used to go down rabbit holes quite a lot, and I was of the belief myself that there was all this censorship and that the governments was working against us to cover this up. And I wasn't deep like this. I never was into flat earth. And I was never that deep into conspiracies, really. But I did question things, and things did look weird to me when you kind of, on surface level, look at evidence and stuff. But then I started getting shit like what he's talking about. People in my videos or people commenting on my channel and stuff, giving it... You're obviously a paid shill because you don't totally go with exactly what I believe. And it makes you realize how you sound. Like it does. If you're like distrusting of everything and just with confidence, you're distrusting of everything that anyone's ever done or said they've done or what they say they are or whatever, it doesn't really hit you until people say it to you. and you're not, you're just being honest and you're just questioning stuff. And it's like, and that was like the thing for me was like, is that how I sound? Fuck. Do I sound like that much of a dickhead? And I think that he's had a bit of that now. But it's not enough for him to question all of his beliefs because he knows he's right.
Obviously, something that was unexpected, at least from my end, was Jiren came back and flipped and says the Earth's a globe now.
I don't know why that was unexpected. That was completely expected. Knowing, I don't know Jiren. I don't think I've ever had a conversation with Jiren, not even in a comment section. But I watched enough of his stuff to know that he seemed to be looking for the truth. He done the transit of the ISS across the moon, I think, once, and conceded that it was there after saying it wasn't. Like there's a few times in the past that he's just accepted the evidence of something that he's found, and it showed me that he would accept evidence and he was looking for truth and just didn't understand stuff. I never thought that. I kind of knew whatever Witsit saw, he wouldn't accept that he was wrong. And again, it must just be ego because it can't be. I don't think he's a stupid person. Everyone says he is, and it's convenient for everybody that don't like flat earthers. Witsit's an idiot. I'm not saying he's as intelligent as he thinks he is. He definitely isn't. But I think for when you put them, when you pull people. When you pull a bunch of people together, the bar isn't high for flat earthers, is what I'm saying. So in the flat earth community, he is one of the intelligent ones.
Right? Now we have people saying stuff like "I flipped," or "I'm just waiting for the documentary to come out, then I'm gonna flip." All these things, right? And people still claiming that we didn't actually go. And I just want to throw this out there, just so you know. One of the I ended up getting so frustrated about that, right? I just kind of fell back, and there were many reasons for it, and we're gonna get into it. But it's like when all that does, when people just like baselessly claim it was all fake and it never happened, it just comes across as if the flat earther is freaking out and thinks that if we did go to Antarctica and saw a 24-hour sun, that it disproves flat Earth. So they have to.
Well, it does, and that's exactly why they're behaving that way. You've got hit the nail on the head, and now I want to hear your explanation as to why that isn't the case.
To say it didn't happen to protect their belief system.
Yes.
It's just like what globe earthers do, like what heliocentrists.
No, they went heliocentrists and globe earthers. Anyway, again, he's moving into heliocentrism and geocentrism and stuff like that. Let's just address the situation first before anybody allows this guy, because he seems to be trying to make a comeback. Before anybody allows this guy to start talking about other things and no longer addressing the obvious observations, the ones that actually anyone can make. Like now he's going to ignore the sun, obviously. Even if we are geocentric, make that sun work if the Earth's flat. Geocentrism on a globe, it's still a globe. Make the concession.
Do, right? It's what people believe in the mainstream model do. It's like just deny anything that doesn't comport with their preconceived notion, with their bias, with their belief system.
Yes, that's exactly what you're doing.
And I'm just saying this. It was very eye-opening for me, bro, because obviously within all different groups, you have good and bad. You have all kinds of different types of personalities in it. But I will just very bluntly say, I realize that there's a good amount of narcissism within quote unquote flat Earth.
Yes, I'm looking at it.
And I'm going to check my own. Like, for example, when I played football in high school and I was a captain, like I checked my homies, the other players, right? I wanted them to check me.
When I played football at high school and I was a captain, what'd you have to, I was the best. I was the one that they all liked. I was the top guy.
You hold each other accountable, right? You don't just talk about how the other team sucks. It's like, yes, of course, anyone that's obsessively trying to debunk flat Earth for years on the internet is weird. That's super weird. And they're lying and becoming obsessed with everyone that's trying to ruin their life and trying to make sure they can't have jobs and stock things.
I'm not sure it's weird. Like, I think anyone that obsesses over anything is a bit weird. Like, I've kind of stepped away from the TikTok debates and stuff because globe earthers was getting weird with me. We're being like, you need to have all of these beliefs. You need to say these things. You need to not talk to that person. We don't like that one. We don't like that. Fuck off. Don't tell me who I can talk to, what I need to believe to be in your little gang. I'm not interested in being anybody's little gang. I'm quite happy being on my own with my own thoughts. So yeah, that is a true. Anybody that obsesses over anything and feels the need to be a part of a gang or a cult is super lame. But if that didn't happen, this guy wouldn't have a platform. The reason he's got a platform, the reason he's got 42,500 subscribers, the reason he makes money doing this is because people need to be in a cult and need to obsess over things. That's why.
And that's super weird. You believe the mainstream consensus that we were all told since we were little babies, and there's a group of people that don't believe it, right? That heard this idea that actually the Earth's not a tilted wobbling spinning ball, it's not a globe, it's actually flat and it doesn't move, and thought it was crazy and just looked into it to debunk it, and then were like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" And there's a group of people that no longer believe; they suspended belief, right, in the globe Earth model that we were all told, the mainstream model, to go obsessively stalk those people or to find immense enjoyment out of the humiliation of them is sadism, and it's just super.
It depends. It depends on how they first, like with myself, how they first came into the subject. The way I was spoken to when I came into this subject motivated me to learn about it. I did learn about it, and I gave back how I treat how I'm treated in all scenarios.
Super weird. So I don't care. Like those are independent of each other, right? Like the fact that there's a group of people that do that, weird, right? Like if I thought the Earth was a globe, the last thing, if I just thought that the mainstream model was true, everything we were told is true, the last thing I would do is like obsessively go talk to people that didn't think that and try to humiliate them, and make fun of them. It's like I wouldn't go. It's like I wouldn't go jump in some Discord about like with a bunch of transgenders and like argue with them about like gender, and then try to humiliate them.
But you do though. You were a prolific debater because you're not anymore. Suddenly, I would never do that. But you harassed Professor Dave for about 2 years for a debate. Why didn't you just take the high ground and ignore him if it's super lame? You approached him. I've seen the emails. You approached him for that debate and harassed him endlessly for that debate. And you can't say it's because I wanted to put a stop to it. Like he literally debated Dave Weiss and does a lot of science stuff on his channel. He doesn't generally do flat Earth. It's very few and far between.
And mock them and laugh at them and obsessively stalk them, and wherever they go, I go and watch their streams. And like, oh, that's so weird. Like, or like there was they act like it's the most absurd notion ever. Like if there's a Discord about how pigs fly, you wouldn't find me in there obsessing over this group of people that say that pigs fly or whatever, right? So anyway, I'm talking about how so many.
It's the same on both sides. What are you talking about?
People show their true colors that claim to be flat earthers or whatever. So anyway, I don't want to get too all over the place here, but I just wanted you guys to know like what actually was going on with me. It was that, and then I was trying to basically do it. What I felt like I was trying to do it for everybody, basically, right? So Jiren like flipped, and then who's left, right? So I feel like I'm answering all the questions. People are coming at me because Jiren flipped. They're coming at me. It's just all crazy, right? Just like constant attacks and accusations. Dude, I did that for the truth. I did that for anyone who claims to be interested in the truth about the realm that we live in.
Someone that was interested in the truth about the realm that we live in should try to explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica rather than just pretending it doesn't matter, pretending anybody that flipped is the idiot, and pretending that you're just going to carry on as usual anyway with no model, no explanation for anything because you think there's been some observations done that we can see too far in.
Right? Because there is absolutely, undeniably, a major deception in terms of the nature of where we live. And that's why I talk about this. Let me make this very clear, right? There's obviously a group of people that flat Earth is like their thing, and they identify through it. And they're like, oh, well, I got flat Earth, so like that's something I have. Now I have a group. Right now, I can make content and be this person that is at the front of the group or whatever. That doesn't appeal to me at all. That people.
Tons of people do that. He's right.
People say that about me, but it isn't true at all. My life could be significantly easier without flat Earth, even in the world of making content. I've had many conversations.
No. Flat Earth was a very easy way for anybody that can speak in a way that they sound like they know what they're talking about. If you sound like you know what you're talking about, if you say it with confidence, if you go on and debate people that are science literate and people that enjoy mocking flat Earth and make any kind of account of yourself in that debate, the whole of the flat Earth community will crawl up your ass and say that you're their hero. It is a very easy thing to do, that almost anybody could do it as long as you recognize that you just need to sound like you know what you're talking about and put up enough content and have enough debates. It was easy for him to do that.
Conversations with many people that say, oh, I could get you connected here. I could get you on this show. You may even get your own show, all these things. You just got to drop the flat earth thing. I'll be in X Spaces and I'm talking about Jewish supremacy, talking about even ether, right? Like how gravity, the way it's currently defined, isn't true. Geocentrism gets right there over in the bucket where people start freaking out. But all these other things that I can talk about, right? So quantum mechanics, and just social issues, historical issues, etc. I will have conversations and say an X space there, and people.
What's he suggest? Is he still suggesting that flat Earth is hidden from the mainstream? Everybody knows about flat Earth now.
Will want me to come be on panels, be on shows, get connected with certain people, but flat Earth is a hindrance to me in that world. Like, just there's no doubt about it, right? Obviously, I mean, so many people have even told me privately they would love to have me on their show, but they can't because they think that their audience would just freak out way too much for platforming.
Why would anyone say that? Why would anyone contact you and say, hello, I'd love to have you on my show, but I can't because people will freak out. See you later. Like, what sort of phone call is that? So it's obviously him reaching out, isn't it? And people telling him no.
That conversation, the flat earth conversation, even though they find it interesting or they're on the fence or whatever. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you guys know where I'm actually coming from. That's the situation. That's the actual situation, right? And I discuss it because I think it's important. I'm passionate about it. I think it is a foundational deception. I think the fact that they told everyone, they tell you from such a young age that you're on this tiny speck of dust in this ever-expanding universe of nothingness, tucked away in an insignificant corner.
We've all heard it.
It completely warps your worldview. It warps the lens in which you view the world through. And we're telling children this, and basically
the way this is probably one of the most irritating things that flat earthers do. Yeah, we're on this speck of dust, putting through space, blah, 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 blah. And their alternative is we're obviously on a flat dome, a flat pizza with a glass dome over the top and a man on a cloud looking down going, look at my creation. Look at him over there. Let's save him. Let's do that. Let's help his day over here. It's just ridiculous. Like, even if you want to concede that the idea that we're just spinning through space on a magic water ball is insane, it's more insane and so much more narcissistic to claim that we're on this created disc with a glass dome and a god looking over us. But that's completely reasonable for flat earthers.
Tossing them out as if they're abandoned and meaningless and nothing. And I think that that's awful because that isn't actually true. If that's what the truth
so says you
was, then sure, tell whoever, right? It isn't the truth, though. The evidence has overwhelmingly and repeatedly shown the Earth is in an incredibly special position.
Yeah, but the 24-hour sun in Antarctica ended all that, didn't it?
Right? Everything is moving around it. It is in the center of everything that we can see. It's the most special position.
The sun's moving around it. How did we see that for 24 hours in Antarctica then? And then in the summer, we see that for 24 hours in the Arctic. Everything's moving around us.
And yeah, I'm super passionate about that, right? So that's why I talk about it. I want to know the truth. I don't, just because I found out that they lied and that there's all kinds of deception that's kind of compartmentalized and alternatives are censored and made up stories and fabricated claims of evidence and all these things to kind of bolster this lie and then suppress the truth about where we live, right? So we've discovered that.
He keeps forgetting himself and his repetitive script that he's said for years just keeps spilling out. And then every now and then he remember, actually, I went to Antarctica though and I saw the 24-hour sun, so it doesn't really fit what I'm saying, but doesn't matter. These idiots won't notice.
And like, you can very easily falsify the claimed model of the Earth that we're told that we live on. And this,
but not with the sun, can you? You can't falsify it with the sun, can you?
This is a pretty big deal, right? It's where you live. It's the foundation of your cosmological view, right? So that is cosmology, the importance of cosmology and the role it plays in terms of developing who you are and how you interpret the world and what it is and what the meaning of life is can't be understated, can't be overstated, right? Like it's immensely important. Okay, so the point is that I don't know all the answers, bro. And what has happened?
It took him 20 minutes to say that.
This what was so beautiful about Flat Earth was like we knew we didn't know all the answers. That was the whole point. The whole point was we were all told that we know.
You thought that there was no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. You said it endlessly. You discredited videos that people saying that was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. You pretended that you couldn't go to Antarctica. You said all of these things. Don't try and pretend that you had an open mind. You never had an open mind until the trip came up and your name started getting touted around. Then suddenly it was all on the, maybe I'd rather go and find out and see.
Know all the answers. We were told we know exactly how far everything is away from us, and it's
irrelevant. Again, so lame. Like, what difference does it make if something is 93 million miles away, 80 million miles away, 2 million miles away? It's far, far, far away. It has to be for you to have seen what you saw.
Tens and hundreds of millions of miles away and 46 billion light years away, like inconceivable numbers. And we know exactly how big everything is and how everything works. And we know exactly what gravity
Again, what difference does it make? None of it makes a difference to the shape of the Earth.
Is and the mechanisms that make everything work. We know exactly what the layers of the Earth is and how big it is. And like, we know everything. So here you go. Now we figured it all out, right?
But he's always had to do this. He's always had to go into space and relativity and the nuances of everything because he knows that the general person would have their mind blown by these distances and then they'll be susceptible to the flat Earth. That's why he does it. Because talking about the sun just going over your head without getting smaller, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then gets to you and gets smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes away, and being the only thing that does that, debunks a local sun spinning over your head. We can all pretend now to keep our sanity and to pretend that the cult hasn't died, that the lights in the sky don't change anything, and the sky could be an illusion and magic. The sky's now magic, but it's still the truth.
And then the beautiful thing about flat Earth was you realize, like, your mind is freed. Right? You realize, wait a minute, like, no, right? This bottled up little version of the world that we were told we live in isn't true. That was the whole thing, bro. Like,
how do you confidently sit there and say it isn't true when you've literally went and debunked yourself 6 months ago?
Like, I'm kind of an OG in terms of when this really popped up and started getting popular. There were people that obviously have been in the flat Earth longer than I have, but beginning of the year 2016. And so the whole thing for me was just like, it was like almost a childlike wonderment, right? You're like, wow, bro, I've never even thought of those things. I've never even, and realistically, anyone that's being honest about this conversation, that's what flat Earth did for all of them. All these people that run around saying they think the Earth's a globe or that they know it's a globe, all that, there's no doubt that they learned a ton having conversations with flat Earthers, researching it, trying to rebut them. The truth is that now I think the answer to this is obvious. Why is this the case? But regardless of what you think about the Earth, it is a fact that in 2025, all these adults that now live on the Earth, they believe stuff about the Earth and the universe and the solar system that they don't understand. They don't know anything. They barely know any of the basics of what they believe to be true.
I agree with everything he just said. Not everybody that he's talking about has learned loads of stuff from talking to flat earthers and trying to rebut them. But I certainly did. I never had any idea about any of this until flat earthers came into my life with their ridiculous claims. Because I've got the logical mind enough to think, why has the whole of science missed what this moron on the internet is telling me? But I can't refute it because I've never thought about it. And he's absolutely right. People do just trust what they're told. But that is the truth in everything. Like, does he question his dentist, for instance? Does he question his mechanic? Does he question his plumber? Does he go and learn everything about it so he can tell them how wrong they are? Like, people just research things and people just trust that what they're being told is the truth. That's just the way people are, generally. Now, you can distract, and I'm the first person to say, if there is a reason, if I could think of a reason that big government and like all of these people would actually deceive the public for some kind of gain, then I would be open to the idea that they have done that. The flat earth for me has always been, what's the fucking point in that? What does it mean? Because there's Christian people that think we live on a globe. So it's not hiding God from them, is it? Like the idea of being trapped on this spinning water ball, like Weiss says, I'd feel more trapped in a dome, wouldn't you? Like, the dome has to, for all of this gas pressure without a container argument that they come out with and stuff, the dome has to exist for these people to make their claims that they make, to keep in all of the pressure and stuff. So, but then they also believe that the reason that we're here is to hide the lands beyond Antarctica. There's infinite plain beyond Antarctica. So is there a soppy little door in the dome then, is there, that you walk through and it doesn't, all of the pressure doesn't rush out of the magic door as you're heading to the other lands? And if the other lands exist, is there also domes over them for you to be able to go to the next land because gas pressure requires a container? You know, they don't think about anything they say. Like all of nothing that they say works with other things that they say. But I have sympathy for what he just said. That is completely true on both sides. The more you get into this topic, the more you go and learn about it. And it certainly, that's what happened to me. It was a rabbit hole that I went down because I wanted to know why these people were so angry. I wanted to be able to see if they had any valid points. And I went and learned stuff. I mean, I didn't learn as, I wouldn't claim to be an expert on it, but he's absolutely right. Most people walking around that haven't even looked at this topic just believe everything they've told without questioning it. But that's generally what we do about a lot of things, is the point I was trying to make there before I went off on one.
And that the very next logical question one would ask is, wait, why? Why do people not know that? Why did I go around the United States offering $100 to $200 cash to answer 3 basic questions, which is how many times does the Earth spin every day? How far away is the sun? How big is the Earth? And like people couldn't answer those 3 questions to get $100 around the whole United States for over a year in every major city in the United States. Well, if we're being misled about the Earth and the story doesn't really add up and it's a lie, it's a deception, then yeah, they wouldn't want to put that to the forefront and bring tons of attention to it, right? And so, same reason that.
Well, how far is the sun? Like, what, you're asking people, but you've got no idea either. Like, I know what you're saying. You're saying that they should know because of the heliocentric model, but you've been and seen the sun doing circles over your head in Antarctica, yet you won't even make a commitment as to how far away that is, even though you're the brains of the unit with flat Earth. Why did no flat earthers even attempt to do some maths, make a model that would absolutely work on a flat Earth? Because they absolutely cannot do it. The land, the distance traveled over land would in the south would never work. The direction of the sun in the south doesn't work. The sun doing donuts over your head in Antarctica cannot work on any single model. Like, if this guy was honest, and I used to think he was, I used to think he at least believed what he said, he would acknowledge that and say, I haven't got anything here. I don't have a position. Instead, he's just doubling down here and coping.
You're not told about certain historical events, like the Armenian genocide, for example, or the fact that tens of millions of Christians were murdered by the Bolsheviks. And basically no one even knows about it.
Oh,
so that's the way this conversation with the Earth is. And no one knows. Stephen Hawking straight up said, like, whoa, bro, it clearly looks like we're in the center of the universe. And that's pretty crazy. And we can't disprove it. And at this point, I only reject that notion, although the evidence suggests it. I reject it on grounds of modesty. You weren't told that. You just assumed Stephen Hawking was a genius that was brilliant in terms of figuring out all this stuff about the universe. And he knew 100% definitively, that's not even a question, that the Earth is a spinning globe orbiting the sun in this giant universe. That isn't
right. I'm getting the impression, I don't like to do massively long videos. I'm getting the impression that he's not going to, he's just going to double down endlessly on this and pretend that what he saw doesn't matter. After having his little dig at his fellow flat earthers, he's now going to pretend that he's basically, this is him re-emerging onto YouTube to tell his audience, please don't leave me in droves. I'm still a flat earther. You guys don't require an explanation for anything. You'll just believe everything I say. So this is what I'm going to give you. I'm just going to repeat everything I've said over the years and pretend that the 24-hour sun in Antarctica didn't change anything. That's what he's done. Yeah. So what do you think about the return of Witsit then? I'm quite happy about it, to be honest. If he starts doing debates again, it'd be quite funny. But to watch him dodging the obvious topic that he doesn't want to talk about. Right, cheers. Adios. Catch you all later.